Hi. I don't really know what to talk about today. I decided after my last video that I wanted to upload one video a day, and then the next day I quickly realized that I wasn't going to do that. So I thought maybe one video a week would be easier. Uh, and so this is this week's video. I have no script. I didn't know what to talk about. Um, but I figure it's a little experiment. Maybe if I give myself 5 minutes to just be bored and not know what to talk about, then maybe I'll be able to figure something out to talk about. So I'm just going to set a timer for 5 minutes on my phone and see if I can find something to talk about. Done. Okay. Um, I had a rough week last week. I cried at work and I I was struggling. And I went to a therapist, and he asked me about my life. I'd never seen him before. Um, he asked me about my life, my family, my goals, stuff like that. But what was interesting is I saw on his shelf that he had this book that my dad had recommended me, and I'd put it in my list. My focus. There we go. I'd put it on my Amazon shopping list. Um, it's a writing book. It's a Zen and the Art of Writing by Ray Bradbury, and Ray Bradbury is my dad's favorite author. Um, so when I went to see him recently for the first time in a few years, and I told him I want to write, he recommended me this book, and um, so it was really crazy that I saw it on my therapist's bookshelf randomly. Um, and I asked the therapist about it, and he said that he loved reading, and I love reading too. Um, and he let me borrow it, which is really cool. And I just cracked it open yesterday, and it's already amazing. Um, some of the standout things. I don't know if I can find them, but I took a picture of them on my phone, or the parts I liked. How long has it been since you wrote a story where your real love or your real hatred somehow got onto the paper? When was the last time you dared release a cherished prejudice so it slammed the page like a lightning bolt? What are the best and the worst things in your life, and when are you going to get around to whispering or shouting them? And I find that extremely powerful. Um, it's like maybe writing doesn't need to be so controlled and planned out. Maybe good writing can just be getting my anger and my thoughts and even my love onto the page, and just creating a character who feels just creating a character to be me, um, and who feels the things I do, and just letting myself live vicariously through that character, maybe putting him in like a interesting circumstance. Another part he wrote is, so simply then, here's my formula. What do you want more than anything else in the world? What do you love, or what do you hate? Find a character like yourself who will want something or not want something with all his heart. Give him running orders. Shoot him off. Then follow as fast as you can go. The character in his great love or hate will rush you through to the end of the story. The zest and gusto of his need, and there is zest in hate as well as in love, will fire the landscape and raise the temperature of your typewriter 30 degrees. And that's really fascinating to me. It's interesting he points out hate as a motivator for art, sort of. And I definitely feel that because I have plenty of hate. um, so I could it feels liberating. It feels empowering, I guess, to be able to hear that I can just put it onto the page. I'll put everything onto the page that I need to put on there. I said I was gonna do creative writing yesterday. I didn't get around to it. I'm scared that it's gonna be crap, and it will be crap. It's always crap when you start out at something, especially art. So I just need to get over that fear of being crap at it, because I'll get better as I do it. But with music and stuff, even when I started making music, and I'm not good at it yet still, but even when I just started, it was crap. But I still found things to be proud of, and that kept me going. So I'm sure that writing will be the same way. Um, so yeah, I'd like to try creative writing a little bit every day, and I'm gonna try it today. Oh, there's the timer. But I feel like I can talk a little bit more. Um, I don't know how to fill dead space, or dead air. I mean, but yeah. So Ray Bradbury, Zen and the Art of Writing. What was I gonna say? Um, oh yeah. So what do I hate and what do I love is something that I thought I could ask myself to um, ins- motivate me or inspire a character to write. Um, I'll just write it in my journal and I'll share it with you. Uh, Things I hate. Um, I hate hypocrisy. I just I very I'm very I very much struggle with when people say one thing but they mean another, or they have double standards, and that's all over the place, and it's very difficult to deal with. Um, Another thing I hate. Duplicity. I learned that word in a book like a year ago, and it's a great word. Uh, just like, I guess it's similar to hypocrisy. It's just like saying one thing and meaning another, or being manipulative. I don't like manipulative people, you know. And what would the character want to hate, or what would he hate? Like he would. I guess he hates. Well, the character I was thinking of is like a very nihilistic character, and he's a young man, like I am, more nihilistic than I am. But I just want it to be like an outlet for the worst parts of myself, you know. Um, I want it. I want to be able to explore my dark side. So maybe he hates himself, and he hates other people. He hates the world. And I guess he maybe hates weakness. I don't know. And Maybe that's good enough for things I hate or things the character hates. Let's move on to love. Let's see. Well, maybe he doesn't love a whole lot in the beginning, but maybe he starts to love things towards the end. Or I don't know. What would I want him to love? Um, want him to love people, beauty, himself, life, um, certain virtues like forgiveness, charity, and humility. I guess that would mean that he hates arrogance. Hates arrogance, which is like the opposite of humility, and the opposite of charity is probably like selfishness. And then the opposite of forgiveness is, well, holding a grudge. What's the word for that? Might have to look that up. Forgiveness antonym. Come on. Forgiveness. I guess, like, retribution, I guess, is the opposite of forgiveness. Um, I really don't like retribution. I think it's evil. This is just a tangent, but I think it's evil to punish someone for something they did. I don't believe in punishment. I believe in discipline. I think discipline is a very different thing from punishment. To me, discipline is a corrective act. Like you discipline a child. Like if a child's being bad, then you have to set that child straight. Like if you're its father or mother, like you have to maybe time out or take a toy away for a time or something. To me, that's discipline. But punishment, it's about the motivation is the difference. When you punish someone, you're enacting retribution on them, I think, and your motivation is to cause suffering to what's the word? You're intending to cause suffering as payment or as retribution for the suffering that another person caused. And I think when that's your motivation, then I think you're being evil. Because it's not okay to wish suffering upon anyone. I don't think, no matter what they've done. And we all do it. I do it, obviously. I wish suffering on people all the time, but I recognize it's wrong in myself. I think once you start wishing the worst for someone, and it might seem justified, like maybe they hurt other people, maybe they did some really bad stuff, but once you start wishing them to suffer, I think you become the villain as well. Because it's just like a sort of spiritual principle I have. Maybe it's unnecessary suffering is bad. Um, the point of discipline is to correct behavior to help that person to stop their dangerous and unhealthy behavior so that they can integrate into society and become a productive member of society and have a good life and have happiness and joy. Punishment is just selfish and impulsive and childish. Um, it's the it's an eye for an eye. It's a sort of a childish motivation to, like, you bumped into me, I'm gonna push you, or you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. And I'm not saying that you always have to turn the other cheek, because you can stand up for yourself. And standing up for yourself isn't a bad thing. But I just think people are very ignorant of their own motivations, you know? And I'm not saying I'm any better, of course. But I think I do possess a certain self awareness that might be rare, but it doesn't mean I'm better than anyone else. It's just a tool that I have that I can use to hopefully be a good person and help myself and maybe eventually help the world a little bit. But what was I saying? Yeah, it's about you really have to be aware of your motivations in all things, I think. And I think people are generally really ignorant of their own motivations when they say things, especially on the internet. Like, it's horrible on the internet. People just use it as a tool to abuse people and justify it to themselves. And I guess that's about humility. Humility is recognizing that you have evil inside you and that you use it, and recognizing when you're about to use it and when you have used it and when you are being evil. And humility is about acknowledging your wrong or evil or even justified motivations in the moment and holding yourself accountable to that, maybe. It's something I think about a lot. And I look back at the past and I think about actions I took and what they were motivated by. And I can just see in myself that, and it's not even in the past, in the present too. I do bad things all the time. I let my bad motivations win because I'm selfish and I'm impulsive, and you know, all that sort of stuff. I don't even remember how we got here. That's okay. So I guess this character that I want to create, he's just fed up with people's ignorance of their own motivations. Because he's very self-aware and he knows his own motivations and he knows that he's evil somewhat. And in like a Christian sort of way, he recognizes he's not a Christian, I don't think, but the Christian idea is that we're all evil, evil, partly divine, sort of. I think. I'm not really a Christian, but I admire what I know about Christianity. Um, so he's angsty, and he's very fed up at people abusing each other, and he knows that he can't do anything about it, and he hates himself. He starts to hate other people in the world because of how shitty it is and how abusive people are and how people treat each other. And because he hates the world, he also hates himself, because he recognizes those same things in himself. But there's a part of him that is dying to love people and the world and himself. And at some point in the story, I guess he has to realize that part of him exists, and he start listening to it. So I don't know where to go with that, but I'll figure it out with creative writing. I'll do the same thing I did with this video, and I'll just start and see where it takes me, you know? I sure hope these videos get better over time. So yeah, maybe he hurts himself a little bit. Maybe he punishes himself. Going back to punishment. Maybe he even wants to punish other people, but he's not like, I wouldn't say he's a bad person. He's not a psychopath or something. He's not a narcissist. He's just very self-aware. But there's the urge in him to punish the world and punish other people, and so he punishes himself. And I don't know what form that takes yet. Maybe he has thoughts like, since he's self-aware, he realizes the power of his words. And so maybe he has thoughts of, maybe he fantasizes about saying things that would hurt people on an emotional level, and maybe he finds power in that, and maybe even enjoys the fact that his words can cause harm. He's very bitter and resentful, and I've been there, so I understand him completely. But I'm not gonna let him. I'm not gonna let his story end that way. I need him to. I need him to change, just like I need myself to change. I need him to realize that he is powerful, but not in the way he thinks. Because he has the power to hurt people with his words, but he also has the power to create beauty and change the world with his words. At what point, though, does he start pursuing what he loves instead of what he hates? That's an interesting question. There'll have to be some sort of crisis, I imagine. Some sort of moment where shit hits the fan, I guess. I thought maybe this character, he thinks he's evil. He's convinced that he's evil. And like I said, he punishes himself for that. And he hates the world and hates other people and hates the ones he loves even. But I was thinking maybe he encounters someone and becomes acquaintances with someone who actually is genuinely evil. And maybe through that, this character, the main character, realizes that he doesn't want to be like that. And he changes his ways, but I don't know what form that will take. I've never really written before, except in school, and I don't know the technical details of writing. So I'll just creatively write and experiment, I guess, and hope it turns out well. I'm going to keep reading the writing book by Ray Bradbury. That should help. I don't know, it's an emotional character for me, because his story is sort of my story, and how his story ends, hopefully, is how my story will end. So I have to be careful. With how I write him, because I can't be unfair to him. I have to give him what he deserves while not letting what's the word? While not enabling his evil, you know? I don't know if I have anything else to say for this video, but I'm really glad I made it because it shows that I'm capable of sticking to my word in saying that I was gonna do it every week. So it's this is 2 weeks in a row I've done a video. So it's sort of, it's not a I think when it's 3 it'll be a pattern. When it's 2 it's just a coincidence or something. So the real test will be next week. So that'll be interesting. I'm hesitant to end the video. I don't know why. I want to keep talking. I just don't know what to say. I'm finding this very awkward. Well, I guess I'll just let you go. Thanks for watching. If you did watch, you didn't. But if you did watch through this whole video for some reason, thank you. Leave a comment if you have something to say, and I will read it and probably respond to it. So see you next week. Thanks for sticking through my rambling, pointless rambling, but I'll see you.